Okay. So it looks like that was a very slight technical snafu. All right. So good afternoon, nobody. All right. So, all right. So there is happy Friday, everybody. Whoever's here. And welcome to SymphonicStorm, where I work on music and of my own, and also some public domain stuff as well in terms of transcribing and orchestrating. I'm going to be arranging old works. And let's change the name. All right. And done. Let's change that. Hopefully that works. Maybe it will. There it is. All right. Okay, so I had a bit of a delay. I was originally scheduling this stream to start at noon, but then I remembered I had a phone appointment for it's more of an intake appointment to get started with some therapy with a psychiatrist, because ADHD and mental health care is important. And so I thought I would do what I could in that, but then I totally forgot all about the appointment was for 1:30 Eastern, and that was way after the fact that I remembered that, and I was like, well, I guess I'm starting my stream at 3 instead, just to cover my bases. So there we go. So what we're going to do today, I've got a couple of plans. I thought I would go back and work a bit more on the song, the sort of quote unquote anime song that I first wrote back in 2001 or 2, I forget. Try to see if I can't tackle more of the rearrangement of that piece. And then later I thought I would work a bit on transcribing Gustav Holst's The Planets Suite, which I had started just very, very briefly a few months ago, but then I decided to hold off and do more of it, finish it while on the stream. And that's what we're going to hopefully get done today. In the meantime, I'm just going to, let's see what we can do. We're just going to get started and see what is up for today. So where is there it is. All right. So what we got done on, I'm just going to set that to 300. Hopefully that's big enough for everybody to see. And just a moment. And hopefully that's big enough for everybody to see. All right, so like I said, what we got done yesterday was really just the first page in terms of the original strings line that I wrote way back in the day, and the electric bass guitar line here. And then we started tackling the drum line, which I fixed, made it a little easier to listen to, but I also still don't like it. So I may actually leave all the percussion, like the drum rhythms and that sort of thing, I might leave that until we're all done with that piece entirely. We're just going to start. So here we have, down here, we have like, this is the original drum line that I first started working on. And we're just going to bypass a bit of an amusing thing, actually. Well, too far. A bit of an amusing thing. When this thing, so I originally saved this as a .mid file, a MIDI file, in a program called PowerTracks. And when it got converted in MuseScore, which is the notation program I use, for some reason, when it transcribed everything out, it decided that some of the parts would be named rather interestingly. And so we end up with what originally was just a drum fill for one measure but it decided that it needed to be automobile brake drums, which I'm not quite too sure. And then again, another line, which is more automobile brake drums. And again, I think that second automobile brake drums, I think that was supposed to originally be like a snare drum, just based on the rhythms here. But I guess it wanted to, we need more wrecked cars in this piece of music, because why not? Everything else is a car crash. So MuseScore has a sense of humor. So we're going to go down a little bit more, and actually it looks like besides that drum line on the first line, or besides the drum line on the first page, I should say, it looks like this entire first page is all done. So I'm going to move out just a little so I can see a bit better. What is that? Oh, should I work on the timpani here? You know what? That looks like a fairly straightforward timpani. I'm going to make that all new. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this bigger again so we can all see it. And something else that you can do, which might be helpful for me here, just in keeping track of where everything is. Yes, MuseScore. And I almost forgot to. I'm going to go back in here and up that to 18 so everybody can see it again, I think. And so you can go into MuseScore and make and have it count every measure so that it's easier. So we're going to go into Style, and we're going to go down to maybe it's Measures actually. Yes, here we go. And we're going to check Show Initial Measure Number. And so now you see, well, if I check that off, you'll see the one goes away. If I check that back on, it comes back. And we're going to set it for every measure. So every one measure to the bar line above the system. And I think that's it for that. Yes, so we're just going to leave that there. And so now you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's easier to count. I don't know that MuseScore has a capability of doing it for every stave, which might make it a little easier. But odd. But that's what, so I'm going to take a look here. And where is my timpani? Oh, so now I'm going to actually go into my layout and click Add New Instrument. And we're going to go into, actually, we'll leave it just like that for now. Going to go into the pitched percussion because a timpani or a kettle drum is a pitched percussion instrument. And there it is right at the top. Boom. And we're going to add it to the arrangement. We're going to click OK. And now we get to see where it actually lives. It should just say timpani. And I'm not too sure where it's right at the very top. That's interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually just scoot it down just a little. And we're going to put it just above the drum kit. That's about where it would usually sit. I find that most of the default arrangement for symphonies and MuseScore does tend to put the timpani just below, I believe it's just below the brass section. So we'll just, and if we scroll down here, we'll see just above my revamped drum kit line, there's my timpani. All right. And then, so we're just going to scroll up. I'm going to move over here just a little bit. This long measure here is where the timpani originally sat. And so I'm going to scroll back. And it's a long measure, so that'll be easy to identify. And I'm just going to scroll down till I see timpani right there, right above the drum line. And I'm going to scroll over here. This one's easy. So I'm going to click. Good afternoon, Obsidian. Thank you for coming in and saying hello. So now I'm going to go into this measure. This is my new timpani measure. I'm going to hit notation. That's by pressing the letter N on your keyboard. And I'm going to press I'm going to tap the number 7 just above my keyboard. That will turn this note into a whole note. And I'm going to just enter in a single whole note, and it will progress to the next page. So I'm going to turn off notation. I'm actually going to go back by pressing the back arrow on my keyboard. And for now, I'm actually going to go up here and turn off automatic pan score so that it doesn't move on me unexpectedly when I'm trying to show what I'm doing. All right, let's actually click it. There we go. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to just click on the note itself. And I'm going to do a couple of things. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Dynamics and I'm going to assign a piano dynamic marking to the note. And then I'm going to click the measure again entirely, and I'm going to click the crescendo hairpin, which will give it that. That will mean it will start to swell in volume for the into the next measure. And then I'm going to click on the note again. And I'm going to go to tremolos. And here we have various different options. We can have like an 8th tremolo, 16th, 32nd, and 64. This is a buzz roll, and I won't go into all of them, but this last one I'll talk about a little bit. This is a buzz roll. This would be for, I think it sounds probably best for marching snare drums. So that sort of, that sort of thing. But for these sort of tremolos, these swelling timpani tremolos, I usually like to put the 32nd. Boom, just like that. And if we listen, we can hear it now. Okay. Sounds, I think, a little better than the original, which was this. There's no swell. There's no anything like that. It's just just, so there we go. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the next measure for the timpani. I'm going to click the whole measure here, whole rest there, and I'm just going to click forte, even though there's no note there. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, because it's my music and I can do what I want. I'm going to get into notation. I'm going to select the number 4, which will make this an 8th note. And I'm going to just, whoa, except I made a boo-boo. So I'm going to just down arrow that guy down there, because it needs to be on the same line as the other note. So I'm going to just tie these together so it's all one thing, and I'm going to make this note staccato, just like that. So now it has a very defined, MuseScore now knows it's very defined as to how quiet to how loud it wants to be. And so when I play it back, it will sound pretty not bad. Actually, I might drop that down to mezzo forte. And you can just click on the dynamic marking in the score itself, and then MuseScore will pop up this little dialogue that you can choose any sort of a number of different set of markings, from pianissimo to piano, mezzo piano, on and so forth. And then if you keep going, you can get like fortissimo, which is ridiculous, and forte piano, piano forte, sforzando, all those. But for now, we'll just leave it at mezzo forte because it doesn't need to be quite so loud, because we will be adding other instruments that will emphasize that timpani roll. And we don't want to overwhelm the listener. So that's that. And I think that's everything. Yeah, we'll work on the percussion in a bit. Okay. So now what are we going to do? I'm just going to bump it out just a little bit so I can get an idea as to what's coming up next. And we get some more fun stuff. Oh yes, this is going to be exciting. So the okay, so we get more of that sort of low strings with the should I make that big again? There we go. Yeah, more of the low strings with some more. I guess we're gonna get when I get to the arranging of this line, I'm going to put this. Whoa. Sorry, we'll just fix that now. Sorry about that. So what we're going to do then was we're going to just, oh, I get it. That makes sense. So I just thought ahead while I'm talking to you. And I see that we have this. We have a G. And then this next measure here, measure 11, it goes to an E flat. And I thought that's interesting. But what I did is when I first started working on this piece on Wednesday, I saw the G here and just assumed, because it had been, 25 years since I've worked on this piece, that it was in the key of G, except it's not. What it is, it's actually in the key of G minor, which for those of you who are not very perhaps musically specific, like music theory minded, means this is an entirely different key signature. G minor is a different key signature than G major. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to fix that at this time. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go right back to the beginning of the measure, of the very first measure, and I'm going to click on that one sharp right there in the first line, and all of them, I can even scroll down all the way, all of the key signature symbols there will highlight. And now I'm going to go to my little palette window and I'm going to click key signatures and I'm going to find the G minor key signature. And there it is right there. G minor, of course, its relative major scale is B flat major. And that means that it has these two keys have B flat and E flat in their key signature, which means that every B is a B flat and every E is an E flat automatically unless otherwise notated. So I'm going to click that and we're going to change that. Nothing else will change because it is, again, like I said, a relative I don't know what I was going to say. The thought just went away on me. But if we scroll back down, nothing needs to be adjusted, which is what we wanted anyway. Sometimes if you change the key to something really drastically different, it will attempt to transpose the whole lot. And but because it's G to G minor and there's no weird accidentals anywhere in the piece yet, it stays as it ought to. So now we're going to go back up to the very top of the score. And there we go. And we're just going to take my little scroll bar and scroll across here. Okay. And we're actually going to start here. I made the unfortunate mistake the other day of doing something I shouldn't have, but that's all right. Happy little accidents, as Bob Ross would say. All right, so now we've got, I'm just going to confirm something. So I'm going to scroll down. So we did everything up to measure 7 on Wednesday, I think. So I'm just going to scroll down and confirm that in the strings because that will have everything I need to know. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? There we go. So this is measure 7 down here. Now we've got measure 8, which again, all the way up here is still some of that strings line that I was going to work on. So now we can go here. And if you look, because I changed the key signature, this used to have this E flat here, used to have a flat symbol right in front of it. It no longer has that because that is now taken care of in the key signature. It doesn't need to be redundantly notated. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is actually just work on this measure directly. And I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to take it down and I'm going to copy it into my double basses, which is this very last line here. And I'm just going to paste it. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing again for the cellos, keeping in mind that it will not, it plays, it's too low. So I'm going to transpose it back up an entire perfect octave and just like that. And I think that's everything I needed to do for that. So, yeah, and we've got the drum line there somewhere. Actually, we're gonna leave that measure for the new drum line blank because we're gonna do something with it in a bit. Probably not today. Oh, I almost forgot. So now, yeah, there's one other instrument we need to take care of, and that is the electric bass. As I already have, it's an identical measure to the other strings measure I just copied. I'm just going to scroll down. I'm actually going to find out which exact measure it is. It should be just above the string section. And there it is. So now I'm going to find my little horizontal scroll and I'll just go over here. And I'm going to confirm that I'm in the right measure, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to just paste. And there we go. Now for real, we have got all of page 1 done, with the exception of the drum percussion, which we will not touch just yet. And now we're on to page 2. And so everything is good and happy so far. Excellent. Now I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. My very fancy Raven mug. And now we're going to start working on measure 9. We're actually just going to work this up one measure, like one instrument at a time for each page. So what that means is then we're going to, we're just going to try something different a little bit today. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to scroll to the right. And I'm going to press and hold Shift and do that. Yes, and I'm going to copy my Control C. And where is my, oh, it's hiding behind the 16th measure, like 16th note bars there. Okay. So now we're going to take this line and we're going to scroll down, scroll. And we're going to find my double basses, my contrabasses, I call them. And I'm going to Control V. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for my cellos. Oh, whoops. Huh. I should have expected that, I guess. All right, so Control Z. And now we're just going to go here. And you know what, just for funsies, I'm going to just copy this line directly. And we're going to toss it up here on the cellos. Bamf. Oh, what did I do? I thought I copied you. No, you stop that. Press and hold, Control C. There we go, maybe it just didn't take. Okay, now we're going to go up here to the cellos, and it should, theoretically, yes. There we go. Oh, technology. And we're going to transpose the lot up here. Boom. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. Just down here, we're actually going to take a look at what I did the last time. Curious. So I'm going to take these two. I'm going to just press and hold Control, and you can multi-click different notes without selecting the whole measure. And then I'm going to take, I'm going to actually do. Okay. Perfect. So what that means now, what I'm going to do is I didn't realize that these notes I've just highlighted weren't staccato like the rest of the measures. And I'm going to fix that now by going into articulations and choosing staccato and just clicking, and it should reassign just like that. So now everything should be staccato, and I'm just going to play that back. These two together, click on one measure, press and hold Shift, and click here. And then I usually just press the space bar. That starts playback. Nice. All right. All right, so now what we're going to do, excuse me, is I'm going to actually just clean up the contrabass line here a little bit. Excuse me. And actually, I made a So I'm just gonna, any note in the viola and the cellos and the contrabasses that doesn't have a staccato, I'm going to highlight separately and give them a staccato. Just like that. Actually, just for fun, I'm actually going to take this and just drop it down an octave. All right. I love that. There we go. And we're going to leave everything just like it was up here, except, well, maybe clean that up a little bit. There we go. So now we have the new. All right. Clear that out. And I'm just going to, well, you know, meetings happen. Can't just tell them you're busy. I'm watching a music stream. You have to pretend like you're interested in them. Yes, I know it's work. You pay me. That's fine. I'll be quiet. Don't actually tell your bosses that, by the way. They probably won't understand. It'd probably be all sorts of, you know, sad and possibly angry. Have to play nice with them, I guess. All right, so we're making a little bit of progress here today. And, ow. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, this D here in measure 10, you see it down here in this part of the screen, it says D3. And this G, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down to my cellos, which are here. The long version of cello is actually short for violoncello. I find that very cumbersome to say, so I just usually like to change it to cellos and then just change the shortened version of it to C. But LS, I believe, is fine. That differentiates it from clarinets. We'll see. I forgot how it works, but if it conflicts with clarinets, then I will change it. I have an alternative I can put in there. And that way I can just say cellos. CLS. Sounds like something, I'm not sure, medical condition or something. All right, so what we're going to do then is I'm going to take, this is the violas just above, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this note here, D, and I'm going to assign it to the viola, but just that one note. So I'm going to go into click the measure for the viola for that. I'm going to press notation by pressing N, and then just assigning different measure or different rest durations here. First with pressing 6 by making it 8. Oops, I stepped ahead. So click the measure and press 6. And I just received a note from my partner. And it says, I start a new job at a guillotine factory today. I'll be heading over there shortly. That's fantastic. All right, and then we just take that guillotine factory. And then I'll make that an quarter rest and then an eighth rest there so that we can assign this note here. And now I'm going to press N. And I'm going to, let's see. I always get this mixed up. It's going to be here. So I'm going to add that. There you go. Sounds the same. A little quieter. Make that staccato. And you know, I'm going to actually just drop this down to G. So now we have it sounding like this. Very quiet, very subtle. I might actually make that also accented. Give it a little bit more heft. Because that's one thing I actually found with the Berlin Strings sound font library is the violas tend to be just mixed a little quieter than the rest of the string section. Cellos, contrabasses, and the violins are all just fine. The viola is just a tiny bit too quiet. You can go into the mixer and adjust the settings by moving the slider up and down as you see fit, but I find that just a few notations here and there in the score itself actually fixes everything I need without too much adjustment. And so now if we play that back, you can hear that viola just a little bit stronger to keep up with the very bassy cello and contrabass. And we're going to do that again in the next section. I'm actually going to scroll back up and just double check what's happening. Nothing much of note. Terrible pun. Nothing much of note. You'll be getting a lot of that from me in these streams. I'm just warning you now. I am the king of puns or something. And so I'm going to go back to the measure I just worked on and click Control C so I don't have to go through all that fuss again. And I'm going to go over here to where this looks identical to what we were just working on. And I'm going to click that measure there, which is for the violas. And I'm going to go boom, just like that. And then I'm going to drop this back down to G. Oops. Just like that. There we go. And that's that. That's the, at least part of the strings taken care of. Done like dinner. Okay. So now we're going to go down. So now we're going to go down. So now we're going to go down. And this is the electric bass line that I was originally working on. It says piano. Super frustrating. Because for some reason when transcribing it from the MIDI file into the MuseScore thought it'd be great fun to assign the name piano to every instrument and then the name of the actual instrument that it was actually supposed to be. All right, so, but I know that this is the bass because it says bass. I know it's spelled wrong. It's spelled bass there. And so we're going to take that first measure. We're going to highlight it, scroll over to the end, press and hold Shift and click. That will highlight the entire section. And then we're going to scroll down until we get to the strings and scroll back a little bit. And we'll see LELB, which stands for electric bass. I'm going to click here and press Control V. Oh, why did you do that? That's very odd. I'm going to Control Z that just to see what I did, if there was anything I did wrong in talking. Don't talk and note, or don't talk and score, folks. Apparently, hang on. So I'm just going to scroll through. Try that all again. I think I did it right, but Control copy. Yep. And we're going to scroll back and then scroll all the way down till we see electric bass, which should be right about here. Done. And Control V. Yep. Must have done something just a little weird. Maybe it didn't take. But there we go. All right. So now that's that. Okay. And if I leave that measure selected and then just press and hold Shift and do everything down here. It's starting to come together. I just realized that at the very beginning, I did not enter any dynamic markings for any of these lines here, and mute score almost always, I think, defaults to mezzo forte if it's unassigned. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to click this note, press and hold Control, click that note, and then click these notes. You don't have to click both, although you can if you want to. But I usually just do one. And now that all the first notes in the measures for the new lines that I started yesterday, I'm going to go down to Dynamics and I'm going to press mezzo piano just to see where that sounds like, just for the minute. All right, we're just going to start that off. It's probably going to sound a little quieter now. You know what? Just for ominous sake, I'm actually going to Control Z and make that piano. Instead, that will quiet it down just a little bit. It will keep it in line with the timpani that comes in at measure 8. And it should sound a little bit more clean. Yeah. Okay. And actually, if we press and hold Shift again, I can actually leave that highlighted section there and then just click and include the timpani and bring it back. And we should hear the drum kit that I put in on Wednesday and the timp that we just put in now. So, and we'll pan it so that it plays. Not terrible. All right, so we're going to scroll back down, and I'm actually going to add in a couple of things. Dynamic markings mostly, like we did with the timpani here. I'm going to add a hairpin, a crescendo hairpin, into the electric bass, because we'll want the other instruments to swell in volume with the timpani. And then here and here, I'm going to highlight both at once, and I'm going to do the same thing, just like that. And then for here, what did I assign? Was it a mezzo forte? Yes. So I'm going to take this. And actually for this, because they're all in a row, I'm actually just going to highlight or press and hold shift and just click the contrabass. And even though there's nothing in the measures between these three instruments, that's okay. And I'm going to assign mezzo forte. Ah, I thought they fixed that. No worry, we can fix that too. By just clicking and highlighting them and then pressing delete. So there we go. And now if we take it back to the beginning, we should hear them start to swell along with the timpani. Oh, did I do that for the... Oh, no, because I have nothing to fill. Okay. So, all right. And now I'm just going to take this down to just like that. And then right, gets much louder, but not too loud. There we go. All right, so starting to go pretty well. But for right now, I'm going to actually control save so that we don't lose what we've done. Make this big so we can all see it. And now this is where the fun begins. So, just for the sake of it, I'm actually going to go back just to make this thing a little bit easier for me. I'm going to go back and assign. I'm going to rename all of these so they're a little easier to figure out. And so I'm just going to take out that piano. I should have done this the very first thing, but I didn't. And because I like making things harder for myself. And click OK. Just like that. And we're going to just write BASS because that's what it's called. Yeah, we're just going to leave that like that. BS, indeed. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. Fun. So on this, what happened here, it was fine just a second ago, but then I changed the name, and for some reason it assigned a treble clef to the measure itself, which is fine. We can fix it. It just looked really odd for a second. I was like, what? All right, now we're going to go over here to clefs, and we're going to just assign a bass clef to it because it's a bass guitar. And that should be fine. Brings it back to where it wants to be. All right. But that was an interesting, just quick moment there. So this is piano flute. We're just going to change that to flute. FL. Oops. That's the shorthand for that. And boom. We're just going to go French horn. F. Whoops. Ah. Come on, hands. This will just take a minute. F horn. Recorder. I mentioned this on Wednesday. I'm not too sure why it thinks I have a recorder in the piece. I don't remember writing one. Or just, I'll take out that first brass. We don't need twice. Brass. And we're going to leave these just because I need to be able to figure out what they were. We'll deal with that in a little bit. Strings, funky thing. All I'm just going to figure that out. Yep. Oh, 20-something me was definitely interesting. So we're just going to take out funky thing, because what does that mean? And just call it 2. Take out that first piano and assign strngs dot 2. And click, there we go. And leave all the perk there for a second, and then take out that, change that to, whoops. I forget the shorthand for it, so we're just going to call it temp. I can get my hands to work. There we go. And click OK. Piano, I'm not sure. Trombone. Take out that piano. And we're just going to call it TB. MIDI string. Okay. So we're just going to call the names MIDI strings. That sounds disgusting. Cool. So we're just going to call this strings 3 because yes, strings 3, and click OK. And then another acoustic grand piano. I'm not sure what that is. We'll deal with that in a short. But for now, everything seems to be all right. And so now we're going to scroll back up and see what we have got to go with now. So now I know for sure what we've dealt. Whoa. Okay, so that, again, like the bass clef for the bass guitar, for some reason when I reassign the name for the first strings, which I'm actually just going to do like this, strings 1, and then go here, Okay. The top line is, of course, because it thinks it's a grand staff, which is indicated by this curvy bracket here, that this top line is a treble clef, which is not typically wrong. If you're playing a piano, that's usually fine. But for this particular piece, I want it to be in the bass clef, so I'm just going to go and click that, and it will reassign. Now it's somewhat back to normal. This piece is going to be, it's going to melt my brain before the end. I'm certain of it. So now we have the flute. And let's see, is there anything on the flute line for this page? No. That's sexy. Okay. Oh. Okay. This is fine. What happened when I renamed everything? What happened was that it had room, or less room, something. It shifted staves. Just moved one measure to the second page that was originally on page 1. So this measure right here, we've already dealt with. So we're actually working with measure 9 onward. And so now what I'm going to do, this is the French horn line. Yay. And so what I'm going to do here, not terrible. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to layout, and I'm going to add a new instrument. And I'm going to go to brass, and it says horn in F. And I believe I only actually assigned one French horn line because that's just how I did things back in the day. Whoa. So what I'm going to do now, I will probably add more harmonics, more harmonized French horns after the fact, but we're just dealing with what's written here first. And so I click on that and I click over here to assign it to the score. Not sure where it ended up. I'm going to go click OK. Horn and F. Okay. So horn and F ended up sandwiched between strings 2 and the 4-piece drum kit. Oh my. Okay, we're going to go back here and deal with that. Same as the other two, just because it thinks it wants to be in a treble clef. Just going to reassign that. Ah. Okay. Odd. Oh, this score is going to drive me crazy. All right. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is that French horn piece I just put in there? Somewhere. Where are you? Come here. Ah, there you are. All right. So what we're going to do now, I'm trying to keep in my head arranging this in two sort of separate sections in my head, because we're going to get rid of all of these original lines at the end, but I'm trying to keep everything that I add to the score in its own properly arranged sectioning, as if I was arranging it for a proper symphonic score. And usually what happens here, so not that one, stop. Where's my horn? There we go. So I'm going to take the horn. There we go. I'm going to take the horn. I'm going to pull it down and just tuck it in above the timpani. And here we go. And you see, there it is. Now, there we go. And so now we have, now what I can do here is I can actually just copy this. If I scroll up, I can take this entire line and copy it. We're going to have to do a lot of fixing on this line, I think. So we'll just copy that, scroll back to the start of the thing so I can keep an eye on. There we go. One thing I wanted to mention too, with French horns are one of the instruments in the orchestra that are not written in the key of C. That's very complicated to explain. I would get it wrong, but it's in a different key signature, and you notate it differently on the staff, just in terms of where the notes go, but they will all sound in pitch with everything else when it's done. But that's one of those things that I need to still learn the proper terminology and how it works. I'm not there yet. But just know that French horns are written in a different key signature than say a timpani, which is written in the key of C, or the violins and all the strings are written in the key of C. Just because that's just the way the instrument works and is constructed. So I'm going to take what I've copied and I'm going to just paste it here. And it auto transposes everything into where it's supposed to be on the line for a proper French horn. And if we scroll back up, you will see that what I had written originally, that says double E flat, but it's actually a D. That's what I had written here originally. So I'm going to be doing a lot of transposing here just for a few minutes. But that's where we are at. And so I scroll back down. So was the original note. And if you listen here, sounds the same. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go into my measure by pressing F10. I'm going to find my horn in F among this entire massive monstrous thing. Right there. I'm actually going to click on it and select in Muse Sounds from the Muse Brass. I'm going to select the horn section, not just an individual horn, but the horn section. This will give it a fuller sound. And if I actually stop what I'm doing just for a minute, listen here. Here, I'll just play it. And now if I reassign that voice to a horn section instead of just one French horn, and then play that line back, we'll get this out of there. Sounds a bit fuller. All right, so now we're going to, whoa, simmer down. All right, so now I'm going to just do some adjustments of notes here. This might be a little tedious sounding, but it won't take very long. And I'll just go. That's right. I'm going to delete that clef because that's not necessary. That's not necessary. All right, so now we're actually going to just keep going here. I'm going to get rid of that clef and that clef. Not sure why it did that, but that's what it did. Okay. Actually, because this is starting in the mezzo forte, I'm going to go back to my palettes. Let's close some of these up. We're not needing them right now. And I'm going to assign a mezzo forte to that as well to keep it in line with everything else. All right. And now we should be able to hear that a little bit better. And if we play it back from the beginning just for fun, I'll click from horn in F, and I will scroll all the way down to the contrabasses, highlight everything. Not too bad. It sounds a little soft in the French horns, but what I will say right now is that's okay. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a look at the brass line. And when everything comes together all together, you don't want necessarily any one instrument to be overpowering any other instrument. So leaving the French horns as I've installed them now on this new line down here, wherever they are. There we go. At mezzo forte is just fine. We can always adjust it later, but for now, we're just going to leave it as it is and save. And then we're going to take a look up at the next line below the French horns that I was working on. This is just called brass. That could be anything. Okay. Let's give that line to a trumpet section. So again, we're going to go into layout, add a new instrument, go down to brass. And I'm going to select, I'm going to click on the drop-down menu. It says common. I'm going to select all instruments because I want an actual proper trumpet. It wasn't available in the common. And we're just going to choose a B-flat trumpet, which is pretty standard. We're going to add that to the score and click OK. And then find it in my, wherever it went. And it's underneath the contrabasses, so we'll just click it and drag it above the French. No, it wants to go just below the French horns. There we go. And back into my mixer I go, and I'm going, because it always assigns it as a single instrument at first. So I'm going to go over to my trumpets that I've just added, and I'm going to go into Muse Sounds and choose the trumpet section, which is trumpets A4. Horns as a section is horns as A6. Otherwise, it will say horn and F. That's how you know the difference. And we'll close that by pressing F10. And joy of joys. So we're going to go, I'm just going to copy that, or click that measure, scroll to the end of the page, press and hold Shift, and there. This is a lot of maintenance for this score, but that's all right. All right, and now we're going to scroll down to wherever the trumpet in B flat is. It's also in another key, different than the French horn and different than the other C instruments. Trumpet is in B flat. So it will have a different key. There's no accidentals at the start because I guess the most confusing way I can say it, maybe not, but if you if the overall score, like if the C instruments are playing in the key of B flat, because the trumpet is in the key of B flat as an instrument, you would notate it in the key of C, which means no sharps, no flats. So I probably explained that wrong. The purists are well, the purists aren't probably listening at this point, but that's all right. But there we go. And I will just click on that and I will Control V, just like that. All right. And so that takes care of that. And I'm going to have to do what I did with the French horns, and that's just adjust notes just a little bit to make them a little bit cleaner. And that's F flat, which is E, C flat, which is B, we'll just clean that up so that it sounds the same as it's supposed to. This is unadjusted, so we'll just take a listen and compare the one I fixed with this one and see if they sound the same, and they should. Sounds the same to me. And there we go. So here's how the original trumpet line sounded. We'll find that up here in the brass. That's what I wrote. Yeah. All right, and then if we go back down to the new trumpet line that I just put in there now, should sound much different. Should sound more like a proper trumpet section. Not too bad. Okay, and we're going to assign a mezzo forte dynamic marking to that as well, just to keep it all in line with everything. And there we go. Now, we'll work on that in a little bit. We'll play around with adding a second trumpet section and second French horns in a little bit. But for now, we're just going to leave it as it is, as I've written it here. And that's the brass section I just finished working on. And if we scroll down, leave the drum kit alone. We'll work on all of that later. And now we have, it says piano. But what else does it say? Nothing, just piano. Cool. Does it actually, is it just a piano? Yep. All right. Well, let's see what should is that an actual piano? Let's because I do have another couple of lines that are pianos here. Oh no, that's it. Just the one piano. Except up here, which is probably not piano. I don't know what's happening. But you know what? Just for funsies, there's a trombone line here as well. So we're going to fiddle with that in a minute. But yeah, you know what? Let's add a piano line to the score. And we'll go into common. We'll go down to keyboards. And grand piano is not in the list of common instruments. So I'm going to just click all instruments. And there's grand piano there. And I'm going to add it to the score. Where it went, who knows? I'm just going to scroll. Where is it? Right at the top. I'm just going to move that down. And we'll just keep moving it down. It wants to sit. I want to say it wants to sit underneath the drum kit. Anything percussion and then anything that's left over before the strings. That's right. Okay. So now we have that. And I'm just going to go into my mixer and just confirm that it's actually assigned properly. And isn't. So I'm going to go into Muse Sounds. Pardon me. And I'm going to keys. Here we go. And assign a grand piano. That will sound much less artificial in the end. And there it is, just like that. It's right there. No, it's not. That's not it at all. This is it. And a properly notated piano on the staff, on the score, will be in grand staff, not just single line, which tells me that probably this piece up here, this line that I'm transferring, is not piano. That's vexing. What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? Where's my, yeah. What could it be? Because I do believe I have a piano in. You know, I'm just going to scroll through. There's a really long run. Okay. So it's not that one. So this down here, this big mess right here, that's the actual piano. Because I remember that from the original piece that I wrote. So what could this piano line be? It's not a piano. I wouldn't write two piano lines in there. That would be silly. And silly as everything in this piece looks so far, that's a level of silly that I wouldn't have done. What could it be? Because it's the same line, basically. It's the exact same line as the trumpets. Wow, what could I do? I mean, I could. This is one of those times where I'm kind of stumped as to what I was doing or what I could do. Ha ha ha. Well, what to do, what to do, what to do. It's right above the trombone line. But you know what? Let's just for fun, let's make a second trumpet. New instrument. Change this to all instruments. Go to brass. Scroll down to trumpet or B flat trumpet. We're going to add that again. Okay. And we're just going to scroll that up from underneath the contrabasses, and we're just going to tuck it in right next to, oops, right next to that first trumpet we just installed. And to keep them clear, we're going to name this one B flat 1, trumpet and B flat 1. That way there. And actually what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go Nice and clean. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go up to this piano line, this ridiculous doubled. If it's doubled, hang on, it is doubled. That seems silly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this that I've already put in here and cleaned up. I'm going to take that and I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to go up to Tools and Transpose. And I'm going to click on this, Transpose Diatonically. I'm going to drop it down a third, a major third. Oh, wrong. Wrong. I did that backwards. I'm going to copy that. Excuse me. This line, the second trumpets, I'm going to do that diatonic transposition. Down, third, boom, just like that. So now we have, and also don't forget F10, measures. And we're going to reassign that to, brass trumpets A4. That will give me the sound I want. And so this is the line for the first one. And if we play them both together, hopefully it doesn't sound terrible. I hate it. Just straight up, I hate it. So we're going to Control Z. And what the hell am I going to do with that? Can I drop it down just an octave? Will it even play? Transpose down an interval by a perfect octave. We're about to find out if it plays. Okay, not that. Oh, it drops out. Okay, so A is its lowest. So we're just going to take that and bump them back up an octave. Boom. It's just a thing we do. So now I'm just going to take this back to the beginning just for a few seconds. And I'm going to highlight everything all the way down to the contrabasses. And play it back. We're going to just bring it back out a little bit. Getting to the point where we can't really see all the instruments at the same time in the window. That's just fine. Okay. I'm actually going to drop the contrabass down to mezzo piano just to lighten the load on the bass there. And we'll just take another listen from here. And down. It's not the contrabass, it's the actual bass. Okay, so we're going to do that. Boom. Control Z to take that back. We're going to move this down to a mezzo piano because, quite frankly, it doesn't need to be that loud. All right. Let's see. What? I'm going to highlight that. Oh, you know what? I wonder if we take that. Yes, actually, if we take both these lines for the trumpets, that's not bad. And we highlight them both and we copy them. Boom. And we scroll down to the first and second violins and click on the first measure of the violin section here and click Control V. Boom. Now we have Oh Joy Rapture. It sounds awesome. Hopefully. And we'll just drop these back down to where they're supposed to be. Darn. Okay. Okay. Oh, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to actually bring everything up an octave for everything. So that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these two sections here. These two, Control V, and press and hold the Shift key, and we're going to just transpose everything out. Boom. Give those violins something to do so they're not just sitting there. All right, so the violinists are like, but we don't mind sitting here. Okay, yeah, sure you don't. Okay, so now let's take this back. And where are we going to go with it? Let's just take this out a bit right before the thing. Ah, forgot to do the thing. There we go. Getting there, but I'm going to make another arrangement change. That French horn needs help. Don't we all? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that French horn line and I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to copy it just like that. And I'm going to assign it to the first violins. Boom. And transpose it up. Boom. Let's transpose it up again. There we go. Perfect. And now I'm going to take that first trumpet line rather. first trumpet line. Oh, I wonder, I don't even need to do that, I don't think. Let's see. Let's just highlight the violin, second violins here. Shift in there. Go up into transpose, and we're going to transpose it diatonically up a third. Again, that should bring it back to where it was. Perfect. So now we have scroll down and get everything in section here. Not bad, but as is everything, I'm constantly fiddling. So I'm actually going to take this down 1 octave because I wasn't sure if 2 octaves would be too much. And it sounds like it might be. So take it down a perfect octave, and there we go. This will give it a bit more punch without being like overly high pitched. So we'll just do it from here. I like it. I like it better than I did anyway. Okay. Now we're just going to control save. And, I'm going to do something else fun. I'm going to give the second trumpets line, I'm going to double it in the violas. Copy. Meh. I can live with that. Okay, now if we just listen to the string section, we'll probably get a good feel for it. So. Not overly terrible. All right, so we'll just listen to it one more time with the everything in there added up. Not too bad. Whoa. What is happening here? We'll get to you. We'll get to you, drums. This piece is weird. Okay, so what's that left? Okay, so we were working on that piano line, and okay. Okay, and first time chat. Warrant exhortation, 8 hours. Interesting. Hello. All right. Now we're going to work on the trombones. This should give it a little bit more flex, a little bit more flush. Oh, but before we do that, I'm going to add a trombone line here. And it's there underneath the contrabasses. I'm not sure why. But we'll just tuck it up in there between the second trumpets and the timpani. right. This is going to be a really long score for a bit until we get it all cleaned up. But then once it's all cleaned up, it will look a lot nicer. So, and there we go. There's the trombone right there. And we're just going to go into the mixer. And where is the trombone? There's the trombone. I think, no, that's not it. Trombone. There we go. That's the one I just added. So we're going to go into Muse Sounds, into the Muse Brass, and select the trombone section. All right. Pardon me. And let's see what we got. Well, we'll copy it. I'm thinking I'm going to make some major adjustments to this line here. But give it more of that. We'll see how it goes. And we'll take it down to the new trombone line and just there. And it brings everything up an octave because it was originally input into the system as a treble clef. And in the new section, it's actually a bass clef, which is fine, but not ideal. All right, so we're just gonna, wow, okay, calm down. Why do you sound different? Okie doke. Cool. We may not need that string line in there just yet. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Who knows? Fixing 25-year-old music is always fun. But let's see how it sounds. I don't know. Okay. Ah. Well then, I'm going to make that an octave lower just because it's trombones. Why make them work for it? All right. Down. Drop it an octave. Doom. Make that big so y'all can see. I almost forgot. Whoa. Sim it down. Okay. Add that dynamic marking to keep it and keep everything mezzo forte. Okay. I think actually I'm going to raise up the French horn an octave because I can. Okay, or not. Still learning ranges, folks. But that should sound okay with the strings there as a backup. So we're just going to scroll right down and listen to everything all at once. Yeah, you know what? I actually liked it better when it was an octave higher. I'm going to try something. And then copy that. That should be all right. So let's give it less to do so it doesn't sound quite so busy with everything else. Okay, so now we got. And actually, why not indeed? So let's take a look. All right, so now what I'm going to actually do, composer's prerogative, I can do what I want. I'm going to take the trombone line here. Where'd it go? Take the trombone line here. Copy it. And double it in the cellos. Because you don't need, you've got three lines, you've got three instruments, the contrabass, the cellos, and the bass guitar playing that same lower bass note, which is not ideal. So I'm going to just give this trombone line also to the cellos, which we'll hopefully get. We'll see what that goes. Okay. And we'll just take a look at that. So hard to hear. Where's that bass? Get out of there. That's right. We just got rid of an entire instrument, folks, because I didn't like the bass. I get like that. I get moody. All right, so now we got less nonsense happening. It's more akin to a symphony orchestra rather than something with stuff sandwiched in. Got rid of the bass. Let's hear how it sounds without that bass guitar. Ow. Ow. That was ow there. Okay. Huh. Gonna make that forte in the contrabass just to give it a little bit more heft. Because it wasn't sounding quite what I wanted it to. That bass was actually helping a little bit, but well, maybe add it in. Well, I'm not sure. All right, so we're just going to dump that. Okay. Not entirely sold. What could I do? Huh. The downside to MuseScore is that I can separate even a single violin or like a cello section. I can split it into two parts on the score so that like one half of the cellos plays one note and the other plays the other note, like we did with the violins in the first part of the first page. But the downside is that MuseScore doesn't have the capability of assigning a different type, like a different style of playing within one measure. So I can't say split the contrabasses so that one half of the contrabasses plays one note and the other half of the contrabasses plays a second note. But while one of those halves plays in arco, which means with the bow, so like it's the legato notes, I then can't assign the second half of the contrabasses to play the lower note in pizzicato. it won't play back. That would only happen. I could do it and it could print it and I could get an actual symphony to do it. But to get it to sound this way in the system would not work very well. It wouldn't work. I'd have to make a second contrabass line, which is very confusing. So what am I going to do? I mean, I could just make it pizzicato. Whoa. Let's see what happens here if I just... And I would have to get rid of those staccatos because they wouldn't be needed, but... Okay, then. Let's see how that do. This is all guesstimation. This is where I have the most fun in terms of orchestrating and stuff. Like, it's like, what sounds good? This sounds good. Oh, this doesn't sound good. Oh, well then. It's all a learning process, you know? All right, so there we go. I don't utterly hate it. No, it could be really funny. I could just, this is a little tedious, but worth it if you can do it right. I can reassign these staccato notes because it's a pizzicato, so it's a pluck anyway, and it will sound staccato. Regardless. And I can just go through here, and this is probably the only tedious part so far that I've done. It's just making sure all these little staccato notes are selected. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassign, I'm going to delete them and then put accents in their place so that they're a little more emphasized. And hopefully come across a little bit stronger, but without being overwhelming. And there we go. Nice thing is that most of these notes were quarter notes, so it didn't take too long. And then when I delete them, it will highlight all the notes that those staccatos were assigned to. Boom. Leaving me to go in here into accents, articulations, and just like that. Okay. Go all the way back up to, whoops. No, let's shift that. We go. Getting better. Getting better. We're just gonna. Oh. It's a bot. It's a spam bot. Well then, how do I banhammer people? I don't know how to spam bot. Or, well. Huh. Well. I'm not too sure. How would I ban that person? Or that bot? Or whatever. I just click their name and, oh, there we go. Ban. Get out of here, spam bot. Yeah. I got there in the end. So there you go. Thank you very much, Obsidian, for that. Well, there we go. So that, as they say, is that. Now, oh, I do have a well, that's okay then. So where are we at now? Let's go back. That first page. Now we got those. So now we got the temp piano. Yep. Weird. Okay. And that's all. For that page, we are 2 pages in, folks, except for the who's a what's it's. The drums, percussion, all that stuff, all that jazz. So, yay. This song is so boring. Okay. It will get more interesting. I am going to, let's see, we started it. So we worked on this for 2 hours. Just give me a minute here. Okay, so I'm just trying to decide if I want to keep going. Where is my, I'm going to adjust my lighting in here because it's got dark awful quick. Curse you, winter. All right. Boom. Ta-da. That might be too bright. We'll see what happens with that. Oh, that's not so bad. You can all see me now, though. How dark was it before? No, yeah. Let's bring that back up. Okay. Oh. No. Okay, what are we doing now? So let's take a look here. Basically, I'm just going to zoom this out so I can get a quick feel for what's happening here. Let's bring that right back out. Oh my. Oh yes. Well, all right then. Okay. All right. So I was going to take a little break, but we're just going to power on through because that's just how I live. And oh, my knees. Don't get old, folks. It's a trap. Okay. So we're on to page something. 3, I think. 3. All right. Anything different in these? Oh, no. Well, yes. Well, a little bit. Okay. So I can't just, darn. I can't just copy it. Why? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy. We're just gonna do this. And I'm just gonna start going a little bit faster because it's mostly all stuff I've already talked about, so it'll just take me less time to walk through it. I'm going to take that first line, put it down in the cellos. Yes. And we're going to give that to the contrabasses. Going to make that. Oh, simmer down. Okay. So now, real quick, while I'm here, just going to do all these up just like I did before. Do. And delete. All right, now there is a slight difference in how I'm going to do this one here today, like this measure here. So I'm going to just actually highlight everything because there were some notes that were left unassigned. And I'm just going to highlight the whole kit and caboodle and accent. There we go. And actually, yes, I'm actually going to delete that cello line because it's not going to be the same. It's going to be different. So, all right. Scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. Hoo ha hooray. Okay, no baseline. Ha ha ha. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Ha ha ha. I'm going to take that bass and get it out of here. You don't want to play with us. No, I don't. All right. Whoa, whoa. One less obnoxious line. Okay, so now I'm going to take this guy. Whoa, whoa. And you know what? Normally I would just copy to the end of this page, but because it ties onto the next page, I'm just going to copy that right just like that until it's finished. Copy. Scroll back. All the way down to French horns. And we're just going to copy that in there right like that. Boom. All right. Take out my clefs because we don't. I'm just going to take them and throw them off a clef. Terrible. The jokes don't. Whoa. The jokes don't actually get better from here. They just get punnier. All right. Not sure how I feel about having 12 beats for those poor French horns, but we'll work on that in a little bit. Back in the day, I did not care anything for the physical endurance of the actual players. It just sounded cool, so I'm going to do it that way. Not how it works. Not how it works at all. Just imagine actually having these guys play this piece and they just be like, 12 beats. Here's my resignation. Find somebody else. Sorry, find someone with bigger lungs. playing a French horn's hard enough. You don't need to be like pushing through for 12 beats. All right, recorder. We're just going to take a moment of silence to pay our respects to any eardrums that might have hurt there. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, why a recorder? Why? Past me? Why? Why did you? Why? Just no. Why? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. So not a recorder because why? We're going to make it a flute to start with, and we're going to tone it down. So we're going to just add a new instrument to the thing, and it's in the woodwinds, even though technically there's no wood in a flute. It's still a wind. We're going to add it to the deal. And where did you end up? Flute, 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 flute. Aha. Okay, so we're going to bring you down. Stick you on top of the horns. Yes, the horns. The horns. Just there. Wahaha. All right, and then we're going to... Oh God, high E's. So many high E's. And an F. Dear Lord. All right, and we're going to just tuck that down. Where are you there? Huh? Oh God. Okay. Okay. Simmer down. So apologies to everybody just for a few minutes. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that down an octave just so it's not destroying everything. Perfect octave down. Doof. There we go. Now it's not going to be bleeding ears. That's all right. Okay. And because it's just coming in for the first time, we're going to actually have to assign a dynamic to it, and it's not going to be a mezzo forte because that would be evil. I'm going to give it a mezzo piano just to soften it, give it a little bit of treble, but not overwhelming. Theoretically. Okay. So now I'm just going to scroll it down. Bring it out just a little bit so I can see what's going on. Yeah, you know what? With everything, we'll just bring it back up to mezzo forte. Because we're going to add strings and stuff, it's going to get lost in the sauce. All right. Save. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's the same as the previous measures or the previous section. So I'm actually going to go down. to the trumpets. Wherever they go, there they are. And I'm going to just copy these bad boys. Boom. And boom. Now, because I copied and everything comes over, I'm going to take these two. I'm just going to delete them because we don't need them there. Dynamically, nothing's changed. All right. And I'm just going to save that. Just I had a funny feeling. Okay. Oh my. So, all right. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing we just did with the trumpets. No, stop that. Come here. I'm going to do the same thing we just did with the trumpets, but with the second violins and the violas. And we're going to copy that. And make that happen there. Boom. Take out those dynamic markings. Just like that. It's coming together, folks. Coming together fast. Okay. And then there was more piano stuff over here, I thought. Some rando. Ah, yes, here. Okay. So that's strings. What is playing there? Proper piano. Okay, cool. Oh, and something else up here. What is that? Piano. Okay. Okay. We're not going to take both of you. But we are going to take one of you. Copy. And we're going to take you. Where's the piano? Where is Ue la piano? Okay. Just making sure that I'm in the right spot. Yes. Scrolling down for funds. Scrolling down for fun and profit. Okay, so now we're going to do that. We're going to just... Oh, dear. Okay. I'm going to copy you. We're going to stick you in the violins. we're going to transpose you down to third. There we go. And, all right, so that's that. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to copy over the trombones, just like the French horns. Boom. Track that down. And Sheboygan. And there we go. Get rid of those clefs. Why do you do this? This conversion made no sense. Hmm. Let's see. I'm going to bring it all the way back to the beginning just so I can hear it in its entirety. Going to zoom it up just a tiny bit. Okay. Well, that was different. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take a quick break. Not really a break, but I'm just going to take a pause here to just kind of crack my knuckles and see where we want to go from here. So I'm thinking I'll change gears a little bit. And I'm going to go and I'm going to work on some transcriptions now. And documents, where is it? Where did it go? Where did it go? Ah, here we go. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're just going to close up this theme here. And we're going to, excuse me, we're going to look at Holt's The Planets suite. And like I said, I did start this just a few measures in back. Oh, and you know what? I could have looked into that. Where did it go? Where'd it go? Okay, so I started this on September 25. Not terrible. Okay. And lots of measures here. And I've written it out. I have a score. You can't see it. Like I have a PDF copy of the score in another window. Excuse me. But here we have the Planet Suite, and it's the first movement, Mars, the Bringer of War, by Gustav Holst. This is what I like to do just to see what I can learn in terms of orchestration and how things sound together with, from other composers. Like I said a few days ago on my first stream, I actually found a full copy of the original score to the Phantom of the Opera, and I did transcribe that entire work. It is, obviously, I will never broadcast it, sell it, whatever like that because of copyright, but it is fun to have in my possession. And to see, because like I said, I was a huge fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber when I was a kid. I have since found him, come to find him a little, I don't know. I just musically, I guess I'm still a fan of some of his stuff, but not as much as I used to. Working on the score to Phantom showed me a whole different. He is crazy, but he's also in some parts you see flashes of genius. It's some of the music that he's written and the way it's arranged and orchestrated is just fantastic. And I go, oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, that's a lot going on. Okay. So that's kind of the idea when I do transcriptions is when I, work on something by Lloyd Webber or, in this case, Gustav Holst. It's really just to learn more about how other composers arrange their works and how they all come together in sound. For this first piece, Mars, the Bringer of War, it's laid out fairly straightforward. So he's got two lines for two separate piccolos. And he's got flute 1 and 2, oboe 1 and 2, cor anglais, which is an English horn, a bass oboe, B flat clarinet 1, 2, and 3, and a bass clarinet, two bassoons, well, actually 3 bassoons, excuse me, and a contrabassoon. So those are quite big. And now he's got a whopping 6 French horns, which he separated into 2 groups. French horn 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. He has got 4 C trumpets into 2 separate groups. So trumpet in C1 and 2, trumpet in C3 and 4. 2 tenor trombones, a bass trombone, an F bass tuba, and a B flat tenor tuba. Just when you thought tubas couldn't get any lower, bass tuba. 2 timpanis, and then in the percussion, he's got bass drum, snare drum, a suspended cymbal, a piatti, which is Italian for the crash cymbal. Those are the big, like almost like the psh sort of things, I think. A tam tam, which if you remember from Wednesday, I mentioned was actually like those old, like the big Chinese gongs. Sounds like this. If you could hear it, I'll adjust that just for a minute. Right. And then he's got 2 harps, a pipe organ, super fun, and then the strings. And he's got violins 1 and 2, violas, cellos, and contrabasses. There's all sorts of markings that I haven't even talked about that are in this piece in terms of how the different sections of instruments wants to play their pieces. For the violin, or for the string section entirely, everything is in Collegno, which I can't drag that definition up out of my brain at the moment, but it is a style. Collegno, let me just see what it says here. I'll just Google it just because it's there. Oh, okay. So it basically means collegno means when you play a stringed instrument like a violin or a cello or something like that. When you've got the bow, there's horsehair. That's the bow part. That's the when you are playing, the bows are what's touching the strings. In collegno, you actually flip the bow around so that you're playing the strings with the wood part of the bow, which makes a very interesting sound. For the violins, in this case, it would sound like this. Right? You can't really hear it very well. But if we play them all together and all of the instruments are playing, or all the strings are playing together, you get this sound. Which sounds markedly different than if they were playing it with the horsehair part of the bow itself. Kind of interesting there. So we're just going to rewind that back, take this all out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to play to the end. I believe it's the end of the first page is what I got notated. Where's my thing? Yes. So it looks like I got just the first page done, and then I stopped to work on other things and wait, do this at the stream. So, but for right now, this is what I have so far. This is the first page of Mars, Bringer of War. For anybody who has, basically every modern composer has, like from John Williams to Hans Zimmer to just about everybody, has at least borrowed, if not, like if you've listened to the whole suite, you can hear in the different movements and stuff like that, like how this entire suite influenced so many modern composers from John Williams and Hans Zimmer and everything all the way down, because of just how many motifs and how many different types of ideas are in there that have been since somewhat translated and recreated in other works and other films and stuff. It's really interesting. He is kind of the grandfather of modern film, music. And I don't know that he had that intention, but that's how it ended up. So we're just going to rewind and we're just going to play the first little bit to the end of the first page. And then I thought I would just transcribe a couple more pages if I can find the time for it. So here we go. That's it. That's one page. And very interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to be toggling back and forth between my workstation and my and everybody's gone except probably Obsidian. I'm not sure. Oh, well. Okay, so that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go up to the top where I need to be. What is my first instrument on the next page is at the, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the second oboe. Okay. Oh, no. Second oboe, right? Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And we're just going to go half note but dotted because the whole start of this piece is in 5/4. It is an odd time signature where it's 5 quarter beats to the measure instead of 4. Gives you that interesting sort of like just that extra beat to give it a bit of uncertainty. And then I'm going to hit notation and I'm going to, make that a half note by pressing 6, and that is a D. And then the dynamic for it in the original score was a piano. And that's that line done for that second page. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and really just stop talking for a little bit and continue on just putting this together. So you'll just see it slowly come together. And that is the English horn. Okay, so that's this guy. Okay, and then we have BCL. Bass clarinet. Okay, that's this guy down here. And sometimes what I like to do is actually put it into continuous view, horizontal view. Oops. That way, I don't lose track of what line I'm working with. So bass clarinet is always like, so I can tell without scrolling back to the left side of the page. All right, and that's actually quite helpful. So going back here, bass clarinet, and that's do, okay. And that's a B flat. Okay. And then me scroll down, and that is the bassoons. Bassoon 1 and 2. Okay. So it just looks like the first bassoon, but then it splits into 3. So I'm not sure how to split that, what I'm going to do with that, but we'll figure that out. Okay, so that's that. I'm actually going to scroll up here a little bit and just take a look at the bassoons. Okay. Oh, it's actually 3 bassoons. Yes, it is. That's why I get it. I'm not that dumb, I promise. Okay. So we have this one. Okay. So that's that. Let's see that for a second. Oh. Gotcha. Okay. Just gonna tie those together. Why did you not tie? Oh, that's why. Because I did not make it a bass or B flat. There we go. Okay, and then there's like, excellent. Okay, so now we get one in the first and second bassoon play. All right, what do we got here? We have 5. We got 3, 6, and 8. No, we're gonna do it that way. Oh, as written, folks. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then okay, now here's where things get interesting because now they've split it into 3, so I'm going to harmonize. I'm just going to. All right, so that goes with. That's actually an F flat. Not sure why he didn't write E, but. Ah. And we'll just finish up that chording and then the last 2. So. Mhm. Okay. Oh, I did a silly thing. So I'm going to actually, I put this in the wrong measure, so I'm just going to copy it and then bring it over here. Boom. Take out these first two. Now they're all in line. That's good. I just put them one measure too early. Whoops. And then the double. Okay. Okay. And then we got this. There we go. All right. Okay. Got a crescendo there. Okay. All right, we're just going to take that back and listen to it, how it all sounds together. I'm going to save it. There we go. So I'm not too sure. How interesting this might be for any of you, but I certainly like hearing it all come together piece by piece. It's really interesting. All right, and in the horns, we have now here we have go. All right. All right, and then what was that? A flat. Well, not really A flat. It's that's something else interesting. You can actually, composers do it all the time. You can actually write a symphony down and arrange it in concert pitch, which brings everything to like a universal key signature. It's not how I like to do it, but you can. And that's what's happened here. So the French horns and every other instrument that's not typically in the key of C is notated as all being in the key of C, which is not too sure why, but that's how it was done, at least for this arrangement. So that's pretty cool, actually, I think, just to keep it interesting. John Williams did it. I have an arrangement of a suite of Star Wars music that John Williams wrote that's all in the key of C. All in concert pitch, I should say. And it made it very confusing at first because I wasn't sure why it was all sounding terrible until I realized that the whole works was in concert C and I had to adjust. There is a little checkbox you can have here that says concert pitch, and you can check it, and if you uncheck it, it will keep everything in where you've notated it on the score, but it will be perceived as, it's very discordant if it's played. You'd have to do some transposing and stuff. But all right, so lucky for me on this next part in the timpani, it's really just a question of copy paste. So I'm gonna just double checking. So it says triples. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna just take that and copy it. And then how many measures does it want to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 measures. So we're just gonna go Control V, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And with luck, when I add crescendo here, as notated in the thing, it will show up here as well. Crescendo. And here we go. Just going to double check there is no crescendo marking on that section for the French horns here. Curious. There we go. Sometimes it all comes together fairly quickly. Gong looks like it's fairly straightforward. The tam-tam, I should say. So we're just going to do the same as we did for the timpanis, and we're just going to bring it in 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then just make a crescendo marking there. And that's that. And it looks like it actually... I love it. Okay, so it looks like everything else just copies. Yes, I think. Yeah, looks like everything just copy paste. Love it. Okay, so we've got the 2 harps and the strings to do through here. Let's see here. So we're just going to do them separately just for fun. So boom, 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 boom. And then over here as well. Copy. Boom, 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 boom. And we'll just give them both the crescendo marking here as in the score. Double check. Oh, apparently it's dinner time according to my schedule. All right, we're just going to move that so it's, well, actually for the Marsbringer of War, this might be quite ominous, all red. But I think for now, we're just going to leave it at the focus. Yeah, maybe a little later than that. Maybe there we go. All right, and cool. All right, so now we have just the strings left to take care of. Oh, why is the hairpin there? That seems odd. There we go. Okay. So the really nice thing about this, because they're all kind of together, I can just go copy. And then this is going to be fun. So I just go there we go. And then make a highlight of all, 5 of those notes and go crescendo. Just like that. Love it. Oh, he makes it so easy. Okay. So now we're just going to run it back. I'm just going to zoom it out a little bit, see how it gets hard to watch when it's that small. But, all right. So here's the second page done, just like that. Just like that. All right, so that's the first 2 pages done. Are we excited? I love this suite. This whole suite is so captivating. Like, if you ever get a chance to go find it on YouTube, it's a treat to listen to. It's about 48 minutes or so. Really, really cool. So there we go. All right. Now on to page 3. All right, so where do we want to start with here? We want to go to the oboe again. And I do love the 5/4 because it switches back and forth between dotted thirds or dotted half notes, and it's a joy to notate. But there you go, or a joy to transcribe, I should say. And now we're going to go into the oboe, and this is still the second oboe, so we're just going to go. That's a B or D. Whoop. Ah. All right, and then. Come on now. And then it's, excuse me. Oh my. Okay, so we're going to. Okay, so we're going to do it this way. We can do it. We don't have to always enter things in sequence. So this is a D flat. And then we just go back and as the last note, because I just double checked, was a quarter note. Do. Perfect. And then we go notate, and just for funsies, because that's the way it's written in the square, we're going to make those 2 half rest, or that half rest 2 quarter notes. And then we're going to highlight those and press the letter T, which ties all of those notes together. And I have made a terrible mistake. That's fine. It's not really terrible. I just put it on the wrong instrument. So this top note, this D flat here actually wants to be up in the first oboe. Boom. But what makes this really interesting is that I can actually drop that down to, what is it, A flat. And that's fairly easy. So I can just go just like that. Easy peasy. And so what I want to do with this is now I'm going to make that crescendo, because that's what it says in the score. And move it back a little bit so it doesn't interfere with that bar line. And then this one, oh, and then these two notes want an accent. And also a mezzo forte dynamic marking right there. And dim. Which is opposite of crescendo, diminuendo. Basically, crescendo means to get louder, and diminuendo means to get softer. It works the same as the crescendo and the decrescendo hairpin. It just less lines. If you've got a really busy score, like sometimes, especially in these older scores, you don't need to use it. It just means it's a little bit cleaner. But diminuendo actually means a little bit differently than decrescendo, I think. In fact, let's take a look. Diminuendo. A decrease in loudness versus decrescendo. Oh. Yeah, no, it basically means the same thing. It's just the Italian word for getting quieter. Are diminuendo and decrescendo the same? Ah. Oh. Today I learned about that too. I never use these markings, so. But decrescendo means to decrease in volume, while diminuendo means to decrease in volume and slow down. Good to know. See, I learn things all the time. All right, so that's fun. All right, and so where are we at? We are at somewhere. That's articulate in it. Where are we? We're somewhere. This sounds like the camping trip from hell, Dad. Where are we? Somewhere. Well, where's somewhere? On Earth. Can I start drinking yet? No. All right. So don't mind my tangents. That's just where we go. Well, okay then. Well, that's a bit of discordance. That's kind of cool. All right. So in the corangle, we're just going to do that. And then that is a B flat because reasons. And then da-da. All right. And then same as the last one, so we're just going to do the dots, and then it's C, right? Yes. And then MF, which doesn't think what you think it means, Mom. Although it can. Certainly not. That'd be an interesting marking in a score. Just playing along, and all of a sudden you just see like a picture of Samuel L. Jackson. You know exactly what it is. Like, okay, play loud and aggressively. Got it. Possibly with a gun and a suitcase that glows light at you. Does Marcellus Wallace look like? No, I'll just keep playing. It's okay. All right. So, never mind. All right, and now that. Yay. It does say dim, right? Okay, good. Oh. Okay. Neat. So now we're in the clarinets. Where do they want to come in? Why, right here, Charlie. All right, so. All right, so we got notations here and do. Neato mosquito. And that's piano, just like that. And then notation, poof. What are we doing? Oh, hoo-ha, hooray. Neat. Okay, so. Oh, I did a whoopsie. Yes, I did. Copy, paste. Deleted. Okay. Ta-da. And then accents on all of these guys and an MF. Oh, stop it. And whoa. Simmer down. And then a dim. Whoa. Neat. Just because that's the way it's written in the thing, I'm going to do that. All right, so. Boo, boo, boo. And then we got the bass clarinet. That's not helping. There we go. All right, so we got. All right. Okay, then G. Same deal as before. Accents. MF. Whoa. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. Do it. Don't be afraid. we get to the bassoons. The bassooneroons. Buffering, buffering. Woo woo. Buffering. Or something. What am I doing? I don't know. Bassoons. There we go. All right. So, we'll get there. It's all good. Oh, I see. Okay, so do. Bassooneroons. Okay. Do. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. All right. This is the big fun. Okay. Ah, I did the thing. I did the thing, and then it was dead. What? This is how I work all the time when I'm not actually streaming. I just talk to myself, and this is actually what prompted my partner to say, you should stream this stuff, because you're talking out loud to yourself and working, you might as well stream it so people can be entertained somewhat. I'm like, okay. Could be fun. Who knows? All right. Oh my word. Okay, do. Edit. Oh, yes. No, that's fine. That's not right. No, it's not right. What are you doing? What are you doing? Nothing. Doing things. Doing stuff. Cool beans. So much dimming. And then the contrabassoon. They call it double bassoon. I want to play notes for you real low. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. I'm probably going to get spammed by Disney now for copyright infringement because I used their melody from the Jungle Book. Oh no. Random singing gets me into so much trouble. If only I knew. Hoo-ha, hooray. Ow. My spine. Oh. All right. So now save that bad boy. And now we're in the horns. Do. Oh, I see. I'm not thinking. Excuse me. Oh my. Okay. Then an MF here. Whoa. And funnily enough, actually, this has one of those, but I have to do it slightly differently in the thing. There's a little plus sign in the score written that indicates that these are all French horns, but muted French horns, but it doesn't like to do that with the plus sign. So I have to do this and then move it down. So it doesn't take up so much space. Boom. And then over here. See if I see. Okay. Okay. Oops. This is also MF. And we know it. Whoa. Simmer down. Close enough for government work. All right. Let's not forget those quarter rests. That's how it looks in this score. Must always look like the score. I'm so anal about that. Do we even have that possibly in my trumpet? Oh my. Okay, where's the trumpet? And see, there it is. Boom, boom, boom. What's the note? D flat. Woo woo. Okay, and that is mezzo forte, dim. Oh, is there an accent? No, there's no accent on that. But it does say here, first trumpet consortino. Let's see what it says. Let's add a staff text. Does it say anything? No. Fine. So no, you don't get to be concertino. I don't know what that means even. Let's see. Consortino. I think it means. Oh, well, why don't you just say that? It means mute. Just for anybody who doesn't know that. And yes, I should know that, but I will learn We will all learn, unless I don't. I have trouble with Italian. There we go. Okay. Oh, I don't. Hooray! Was your PC being a doo-doo head, Obsidian? I mean, really? Well, you know, I try. All right, so we have, oh, goody. And then it's mostly cut and paste again. Yay. All right. So then we got a measure after everything. We get the tenor trombone and the bass trombone. Wahoo. All right, so we got tenor trombone and and the bass trombone. So we got after these guys. There we go. Get away. Stream. E flat, B flat. Okay. Da 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 da. Boom. Boom. Whoa. Simmer down. Yeah, you tell him, Ma. Yeah. Whoa. Okay, just take a quick second here and check my style on something because I feel like those. Oh, no, they're just fine. Okay. They look big. My little dynamics here. The piano. They look huge. Or something. Copy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And then that last measure goes piano. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Random. Okie dokie artichoke. So then we'll just copy these bad boys. And those are. Why did you get so dark? Stop it. Okay. And we're just about done. Um, Odd. Whoa. Okay. Then on these, but these guys, bye. Now there's no way for MuseScore to know this, but in the score it says only half, which means, of course, only half of the section plays. But there's no way for me to actually get that to sound that way. But I will write it in there just to keep true to the score itself. So I dig it. That's actually kind of badass. Ah. I am. All right. You're not a mod, but yeah. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to, what am I going to do now? Actually, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. It's getting a little cold in here and I need to go and actually grab something to eat as well. So I'm going to just leave it there. We have gotten 2 pages technically, but we've got 3 pages of the opening to the Planets suite, which is, pretty cool. And we did some work on my other piece from way back in the day that's not quite as cool as this, not nearly. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it there. I will be off for the weekend. I will be back probably 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's noon Pacific on Monday. Pending now, I should probably check my schedule because I'm old. Like, since today happened with my appointment, I should probably just double check my calendar, make sure that there's nothing hinky going on. Let's see. So it doesn't look like anything is booked on December 22. So that will mean I will be back December 22nd. That will be the last stream for that week. just because of Christmas and everything. But I will be back the following week after that on December 29 at 3 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, I will see you all on Monday. That's basically the point I'm trying to make. And have a great weekend, everyone. And don't work too hard. You know who you are. And in any case, so thank you so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'll see you guys all on Monday. All right.